Yes.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the March 24, 2025 regular meeting of council. We acknowledge that we are gathered on Treaty 5 territory, the traditional lands of our neighbors of Cascade Cree Nation, as well as many Cree, Dene, and OG Cree people, and is the homeland of the Red River Métis. Mayor Murphy is absent tonight, and he has sent his regrets, and we all wish him well. I'd like to call the meeting to order and the adoption of the agenda.
Myself, second by Councillor Allen, the agenda be adopted. I have one addition, it would be the downtown camera system. Just want to bring it in for discussion to get it on the agenda.
Sure.
So adopted as amended.
Call the question? In favor? Against? Carried.
I'm abstaining. I'm abstaining because I provided an issue sheet 2 weeks ago and I do not see it on the agenda. And therefore I'm going to abstain from. So
An issue sheet on the cameras.
no, an issue sheet on another issue that was brought forward and is not applied. So I'm guessing that bylaw number 4631, we don't follow procedure. So I'm just going to abstain rather than making an issue of it.
Yes, Councilor Manish, which issue sheet is that?
The issue sheet that was provided to, at the request of the CFO, because it was budget time, she said, well, supply it to me and I will make sure that it is put forward. And it was not brought forward or addressed even. It was not even said, hey, this isn't going to go on the agenda, as most of my emails was ignored. So
That
Okay,
issue sheet is on the agenda tonight.
where?
The camera portion.
I did not include that issue sheet on the agenda because I have to follow a proper process. The issue sheet has to do with personnel. It has financial implication. It has to come to council first. Then the decision from the council will now determine whether it will be added to the budget or not. And it wasn't sent to me. I received that issue sheet from the controller.
Right, because the controller had requested, because she was in charge of the agenda the night I brought it to her, she had said, bring it to me. Due to comments made at the council meeting of 2 weeks ago, it was most appropriate and most respectful to give it to the controller, which then passed it on to you. Our bylaw 4631 actually says it's to be given to the assistant CAO, which we do not have. Therefore, as long as it ends up in your hands, we're following the procedure. But because it was not addressed and all it was a request for discussion. It wasn't a request of action. It was a request to provide discussion. Therefore, it could have fell into the agenda anywhere in terms of personnel. If you felt it was personnel, it could have been an in-camera session. Council could have made the decision if they wanted to hear it or not. But for it to be ignored, I feel is inappropriate.
Okay, so it's not ignored. This is the first council meeting we are having and it's included on this agenda and it's discussed. It's going to be discussed in camera.
It wasn't on, it's not on here on my
Really?
list.
Go to the in-camera section there.
It's there.
There's one Councillor Manage with your name at 1453. Is that yours?
I'm not, I end at 14.4. It says personnel and I have nothing further on my list.
At 14 point.
So you're missing the in-camera portion.
I am missing in camera. It says personnel and adjournment.
I don't know.
So,
Okay.
so if it's on there, I apologize,
it's
but
in
as
there.
my listing, it does not have it on here at all.
Okay, so,
You have it.
okay,
So there it is.
so let's go back to
I
confirmation of the
apologize. I'm
minutes.
glad to see that it is on here, but it does not show up.
Back to confirmation of the minutes. Someone will have a resolution.
On myself, second by Councillor Allen, resolved that the minutes of the regular council meeting of March 10th and budget meeting March 17th, 2025 be hereby approved, all statutory declarations complied with.
Call the question? Hearing none, in favor? Against? And nobody's abstained. Carried. Okay, so then recognition period. I have a few things that'll start us all off with. The Blizzard had a couple games this weekend. And it appeared that there were an awful lot of people who were attending these games to cheer on. Storm also had 2 games this past weekend. And La Pas Dance had a recital that was the Dance Collective 2025. The Paw Family Resource Center last week also held a vigil for Mercedes Mirren. And may Mercedes rest in peace. The Ukrainian egg decorating workshop was put on by the Arts Council in partnership with the museum. And I'm gonna leave all the big basketball talk to the people who are really familiar with speaking to the basketball. So anybody else have any recognition for the community?
This weekend at MBCI, we hosted the Provincial Basketball Championship. Fortunately, our varsity boys won 3rd place in the province provincial, and our girls they traveled to Flin Flon.
Thank you. Congratulations. Anyone else? Councillor Hopper?
I'd like to recognize Councilor Commodore for her 11 years service on the Tri-Community Recycling Board. 11 years of dedication, hard work, didn't go unnoticed. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Thank you. Okay, so then let's move on to our presentation from the PAW Arts Council. Artwork presentation. Welcome, Gabrielle.
Hi, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Will the slides also show online or just to you
I
guys?
don't know.
It's visual online.
Okay. I just want to make sure if I have to give more color to the people who are watching online, they're not seeing what the actual presentation.
We would like them to see what's resonating.
Yes, thanks.
You should do the color commentary anyway. I never seen it.
I'll try to keep it fun for you guys.
Whenever you're ready.
So there's been a lot of talk lately about ways that we can enhance the community from a visual standpoint. And I thought of a couple ideas that I wanted to present to you guys this evening in terms of how we can utilize art to just enhance actually your space and the airport space. So I was recently in West Virginia in their capital town called Charleston. It's a really small community, about 50,000 people that actually live in Charleston. And one of the spots that I visited was the Capitol building. They have an absolutely gorgeous Capitol building, and outside of the governor's office, they have the governor's art exhibition. And that immediately made me think of town council, and maybe we could find some way to do town council's art exhibition. You could move ahead. So the wall that you'll see there on the right-hand side is one of 3. So there's a total of 75 pieces of art. And the governor's, in this case, art exhibition features youth art primarily. So the idea behind this is that when people would walk into the building here, the space between the Friendship Center and the entryway to our building here would be this art exhibit. Now, theirs is called Almost Heaven because that is the tagline of West Virginia. It's known as Almost Heaven. Ours is Adventure Territory, so I would assume that we would want to go with Adventure Territory. This is all youth art. So the way that they do it in West Virginia, it is actually a contest amongst the students. They have a 1st place, 2nd place, and 3rd place prize. And the governor, I'm sure he doesn't pick it himself, but the governor picks the 75 pieces that he wants to feature each year. So it's all across the state. For us, obviously, it wouldn't be across the state. I would envision it being across the tri-community. I see it as an opportunity for us to kind of build bridges with the people at OCN as well as the rest of the RM of Kelsey and include all of the youth anywhere from our immediate community, the reserve next to us, all the way to Cranberry Portage. Word in the art community is they feel very left out. So wanting to make sure that we're being inclusive to them and their art community. So that's kind of the part 1. Part 2 would be the PAW Airport. As I'm sure any of you who've been to the airport recently know, it's pretty sparse, pretty naked, it's pretty sad. So we wanted to find a way to do that. Now, every year for Culture Days, which is a national organization that the Paw Arts Council is a part of, Culture Days is a festival that lasts, well, we celebrate it for 10 days. It's about a 25-day program typically across the country. One of the things that we do is create an art. So many of you might have seen over the last number of years, Margaret's very familiar because she participates every year. Local artists being displayed in businesses' windows. Last year for 2024, we had 25 different art pieces belonging to 16 different artists. If you want to move ahead one slide. Yeah, 15 different artists, 25 artworks, and 16 businesses participated. So what we do as the Paw Arts Council is A, curate the exhibit, B, work with UCN to print these large scale pieces. So that one pictured in the background there belongs to Shauna Ponask from Wanless. And that piece is actually about 3 feet across and 2.5 feet tall. So it's pretty substantial. If you can move ahead. These are some other examples of artworks that were included last year. We have one by Fran Cooper from the Paw, another by Peggy McGillivray, also from the Paw. Another one from Kim LaFontaine, also from the Paw. One from Anita Janai, as well as Joyce McLean, one from the Paw, another from Rocky. And then, yeah, so basically we already have 25 pieces of art that we're printing. The Arts Council pays for those to be printed. So in order to create a permanent, but also revolving exhibit that's changing, we have space over here, which would be youth art, showcasing our dedication to the next generation of our community. And then the spot at the airport that would be on that main wall, that's kind of like the one big wall, across from where you check in and you get your luggage. So basically that one would be all established artists. So that when people land or they're going to pick somebody up at the airport, they can kind of see, that part of our community. So I wanted to talk about the costs. Year one cost would obviously be the most expensive because we would have to be purchasing the gallery wall infrastructure. So that's about a $425 expense per 12 feet of wall. So for this wall up here, I think the 12 feet will be more than enough. The airport wall, we might need a little bit more than 12 feet, but I think we could probably get away with 12 feet. Beyond that, we would need an investment in frames for the pieces. The youth art, we would do smaller ones. The adult art, obviously, it's like 3 feet wide, 2.5 feet tall. It's a bit more substantial. So this is for the airport fees. And then with the Arts Council and Culture Days, we pay typically about $100 honorarium to each artist, regardless of how many pieces they put in. So with last year, we had about 45 different submissions. We whittled it down to 25. So our cost for that, because there were 15 artists, was $1,500 in honorariums. I would recommend to town council to offer an additional $100 to each artist to display their work. And the nice thing is because we're doing this every year with the Art Walk, you would get a change of exhibition each year. So when people come back again and again, they're not going to be seeing the same things every time. With the youth art, rather than putting original pieces, I would recommend we photograph the art in the same way that we do with the adult art so that we can decide, scale it down to size and we can use smaller pieces, frames for the student art. Could you move ahead, please? So with the town office project, it has a significantly smaller price tag because the cost of framing would be less. And also instead of paying a fee to each or an honorarium to each artist, we would be doing a first place, second place, and third place prize. Those are my recommended prize amounts. But obviously that will be up to town council if they decide to move forward with this idea, what you guys feel is an appropriate amount. The cost of the frames are based on projections, based on the small scale sizes. Does anyone have any immediate questions about either aspect of this project? Positive feedback, negative feedback that they'd like to put forward?
When you had pointed towards the wall that way, are you talking about the main wall as soon as you walk in?
Yes.
That's kind of what we've been working on to get that mural on.
Yes, this is just an alternate idea.
Yes.
But the other point is if you do decide to go with the mural direction, then we could pick a different wall inside this space to showcase the art. I think it's just the idea of having town council's art exhibition really shows the commitment of all of you to the arts.
So I had a question, or not a question, more of a call it what you like, I guess.
Okay,
Could this not be a sales opportunity for these artists, not only displaying them to enhance the look of our airport, but could it not be an opportunity for them to market theirs and therefore not necessarily cut costs, but if they could sell 10 prints because they're on display, that becomes a benefit. And
So I guess-
therefore, I'd like to see either an award being bigger
Mhm.
to get them motivated to offer more pieces or to showcase the artists we do have in our area.
sorry, I just want to take a step back, make sure I'm understanding what you're saying. Are you suggesting that we shouldn't compensate the artist because?
No, I'm saying we should,
Okay.
and maybe by the sales,
Yes.
that could help
Yes, okay. perfect.
enhance and get other artists involved.
Yes,
Some people are very shy to put out their art, right?
absolutely.
So
So
it
I.
might be an opportunity.
I agree completely. And with Culture Days for the Art Walk, we do have a little bio below. We don't typically put the artist contact information, but I would be working with each artist individually to ask and offer what you just suggested, because I think it's a great opportunity. Our big challenge is where are they buying it from other than going to the artist directly, but that's something that we can
And
navigate.
that's, yeah, I'd like to see some kind of logistics worked out that it could become a marketplace for them
Absolutely.
to showcase and enhance.
And I think too, it'll be a good case study opportunity for us, where if we do, well, not if, when we are able to see at the end of each year and ask each artist, how many inquiries did you get from this? How many pieces did you actually sell from this? I think it'll give us an opportunity when we are in the future, hopefully, one day having me sit here, talk to you guys about a tourism space, because that's definitely something that's in the back of my mind is important. This will be a great, case study that we can reference at that time. Yes, Margaret.
Going on that case study there, I actually approached an artist, local artist, and she's going to be hopefully putting stuff in my shop and also just to showcase it, what you sell it for, and no cost.
That's
I
amazing.
just put it out there.
That's awesome.
You know who I'm talking about.
I do, yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Our little birdie.
Yeah, they're beautiful. No, I think that's a fantastic idea. And if we can inspire through this conversation, anybody that's watching at home, that has a business that's wanting to showcase local art, definitely this is an opportunity. It's something we see in many other communities, especially the coffee shops, small restaurants, things like that. So, if anybody does want to, initiate that conversation with me, please don't hesitate to reach out to the PA Arts Council. It's paarts@hotmail.com. Debbie can get you in touch with me. She's our coordinator, and we can definitely see how we can further that conversation.
This is exciting. We've been talking about having art on display at the airport for a minimum 6 years now.
Okay.
Not just the PA airport, but we had also, I'm gonna speak to Grace Lake as well.
Mhm.
There's some wall space there as well. Possibly they would want to partnership in that.
Mhm.
That's exciting. Does anybody else have any other questions for Gabrielle?
Just for clarity, other than wall space, what exactly are you asking from the town?
To pay for everything,
So
other than
the costs that are in here.
Yes,
exactly.
yes.
Yes.
The Arts Council pays for the printing for the art walk for Culture Days, so that'd be the adult artists. If this is something that you guys want to see in your airport or in your building, then we would ask you to cover those fees. I would help facilitate the project at no cost to you guys. I wouldn't say I'd waive my fee, but I'd say I wouldn't build a fee in. But yes, that would be what we were looking for. And in terms of the, like, again, the numbers with the infrastructure for the gallery walls, those, I put a bigger number than it might actually cost to make sure that we stay within budget. But I think the adult art one would be a little bit more expensive just because the pieces are larger, therefore heavier. So you need to have stronger cables and hooks. The idea behind that is to prevent a bunch of holes in the airport wall that every year when we change it and different pieces are there, it would look pretty bad pretty quickly. Yes.
It was something that council has been really looking for, is maybe some refresh ideas on the trapper side. I couldn't think of a better organization to try to maybe have those communications with in terms of what we can do as a community for that. So
Do you mean the gentleman that's tipping his hat?
just a thought.
It's a good idea. Thank you. Thank you.
Sam doesn't think I'm busy enough, so.
I'm just trying to think.
Anything else? We thank you for coming in and sharing your presentation with us, and we'll be in touch by all means.
Okay, sounds good.
Thank
And I don't
you.
need any disrespect, but I do have another commitment to.
You
attend,
bet.
so I'm gonna.
And we're gonna keep on rolling here.
Thank you.
Okay, so then. We have here. We're ready? Okay, so department resolutions, we have the annual emergency measures plan call for resolution. I just would like to note in here that this is a live document. It is extremely long and there is work that needs to happen within this document. There are a lot of names in the contact fields that need to be updated. And since it is a live document, we can call for resolution tonight.
Resolution number 2025-048, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Hopper. Whereas in accordance with section 8(1)D of the Emergency Measures Act, every local authority shall prepare and adopt emergency preparedness programs and emergency plans and submit them to the coordinator for approval and coordination with other emergency programs and emergency plans. Therefore, be it resolved that council adopt the Town of the Ball Emergency Measures Plan as presented for 2025.
Thank you. Call the question? In favor? Against? None. Carried. Okay. Twenty tax sale resolution. 9.3.2.
Resolution number 2025-049, moved by Councillor Manning, seconded by Councillor Commodore. Whereas section 365, parentheses 2 of the Municipal Act provides that council may in any year designate the immediate preceding year or any earlier year as the year for which properties, taxes in respect of which are in arrears for the year must be offered for sale by auction to recover the tax arrears and costs. Be it resolved that the designated year for which properties in arrears be offered for sale by auction be 2025, meaning all properties with outstanding taxes from the year 2023 or prior. And be it further resolved that in accordance with section 363 of the Municipal Act, costs shall be actual costs incurred by the municipality for each parcel listed for the tax sale, plus an administration fee of $50 per roll as set forth by Manitoba Regulation 50-97. And be it further resolved that 2025 tax sale be held on November 4th, 2025 at 2 p.m. at the Town of the Paw, 81 Edwards Avenue in Council Chambers. And be it further resolved that council place a reserve bid on tax sale properties in the amount of the tax arrears and associated costs in regards to the 2025 tax sale. And be it further resolved that council appoints the chief administrative officer as a designated officer for the 2025 tax sale.
Five for reading all of that. Okay. Call the question? Hearing none, in favor? Against? None. Abstained? None. It is carried. Okay, tax sale manager resolution.
Resolution number 2025-050, moved by Councillor Manich, second by Councillor Commodore. Be it resolved that pursuant to bylaw number 4415, the Town of Paw Tax Service, Inc. be appointed manage property tax arrears recovery for the Town of Paw. Be it further resolved that pursuant to bylaw 4415 of the Town of Paw, the following individuals be appointed tax sale managers for the Town of Paw: Donna Zinke, Vice President of Tax Service Inc., or Tyler Burnside, Associate of Tax Service Inc.
Full question? Hearing none, in favor? Carried. Annual utility fund deficit recovery, 9.3.4.
Resolution number 2025-051, moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Forster. Whereas in 2023, there was utility deficit in the amount of $176,691. And whereas the Public Utility Board requires the public utilities recover utility deficits for the given year. Therefore, be it resolved that council approve applying the deficit of $176,691 against the reserve funds.
Call question? In favor? Carried. Payroll and accounts, resolution 9.3.5 on the agenda.
Resolution number 2025-052, moved by myself, seconded by Councilor Commodore. Be resolved that council authorizes the following accounts. Pay period number 6 in the amount of $141,884.75. General check numbers 32375 to 32409 in the amount of $111,777.16. EFTS in the amount of $292,962.75.
Question? Hearing none, in favor? Carried. Okay, reports of committees and boards. Museum,
I have nothing to report, nobody.
Chamber of Commerce,
Nothing to report since last meeting.
CDC, I don't believe there's anyone here for the CDC. Destination marketing,
I have nothing to report. We've been able to attend the meeting and I've yet to see the minutes from the meeting.
Cedar Lake. Just a reminder that Vision Quest is ready to roll for your online applications. That will take place in May. And recycling board,
Meeting coming up.
library board,
Nothing to report.
this is quick. Kelsey School Division, we are meeting Friday, I believe. It's still in place?
Yes.
Yes, okay,
I will still sense time.
4 p.m. I believe.
I
Yeah.
try to accommodate.
We just haven't heard back yet. I'm pretty sure it's 4 p.m. on Friday though.
Yes, 4 p.m.
Yeah.
On Friday, March 28th. Some office.
And youth counselors,
I have enough to report for everyone.
perfect.
Firstly, as I said earlier, MBCI hosted a provincial basketball championship. Our varsity boys won the Zone 11 basketball banner and finished 3rd place in the province. And our varsity girls played in Flin Flon. This week, I believe our MBCI band will be performing for elementary schools this week. That would be exciting for the kids. They might get to see what instruments they'd want to play when they get to middle school. Our French immersion students are traveling to France over spring break as part of an exchange program. Unfortunately, I'm not going, but that's okay. Students taking the outdoor ed class are going camping in April with Mina Ducharme. And several students are going to Winnipeg to compete in the Northern Manitoba Skills Competition with Lisa Gibb. MBCI has also chosen to participate in the PISA International Student Assessment in April. This is essentially an assessment for 15-year-old students that will pretty much gauge their reading, comprehension, math, and science skills, and how it can be applied in the real world.
Thank you. That wasn't enough for all of us.
Just add to that, the varsity girls, they did win zones.
Mhm.
And they severely thrash Apcot. They, I think Apcot ended up with about 14 points. 6 were actually from the floor, the rest were all free shots. Apcot was the provincials were in Flin Flon, so they managed to get a seat on the floor that otherwise they wouldn't be in. And unfortunately, they beat our girls by about 8 points when we get up there. And just for the record, the referee was terrible.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Hopefully it's nobody we know.
We heard Amber one.
But anyway, they did well, and a lot of the girls will be there last year, so.
Oh, congratulations to everybody. It seems to have been a pretty exciting basketball season. We have heard about basketball in this room every 2 weeks for the last 3 months. I'm not sure how long the season is, but we thank everyone for sharing all the wins and the losses and the positives.
The coaches, the volunteers, the drivers, and all of that, so
100%.
we've got a very healthy program here. And volleyball as well.
Thank you.
I would like to put that up too, check with the coaches. It's been awesome. We've had the same coaches on there for quite a few years, and I'm very sad to say that one gentleman got them to be doing more.
Twisted arms more.
Very sad.
Thanks, everyone. Okay, so 10.2 reports, management monthly report. So in here, does anybody have any questions surrounding any of the reports? I have a question surrounding the training as to who actually authorizes the travel for when employees are going away, and also how are we, like the training plans, who's implementing them? Are managers implementing the training plans for the employees, or is that coming from HR?
No, it's before coming from HR, I had the opportunity of evaluating all the management staff. I received the report at the end of 2024. I finished the evaluation around February of 2025. And there is a section under the evaluation that talks about training. So I had discussion with each of them, and the plan asked them what kind of training. And after that, I discussed with HR. HR prepared a training plan for their own staff. So HR sent that to all the managers. It's one thing for the manager to go for training. It's another thing to train the supervisor and people under them. So it's kind of follow that hierarchy.
Perfect.
So some of the managers have started training, like superintendents have started training. And another manager has not started. I think I've already identified. So that is how the process is. And before any manager travels, you have to let them know and know the time that they do.
Thank you. Thanks for clarifying that. So then, does anybody else have any questions surrounding the report?
I have a couple more for clarification. For the CSO report,
It says so.
it says total number of calls, and then it says for the month of January. I thought this was the February report, so just quick, I was just curious if that's a typo or if we're behind.
Yes, it's February.
It is, okay.
Thank you for bringing it.
The other question I had under the CSO one is the MHA tasks. It says there was one call where they were called to sick with patients at the hospital. And I thought that we had when this was all getting set up, I thought we had stated that was something we wouldn't be doing.
Or have we billed for that? We did state that it would be something that we would not be doing, but if we did do it, are we indeed billing somebody for our CSOs going?
Check.
And then if they end up doing something that's outside of kind of the agreed parameters of their duties, how does that get approved? Like, does Mike have the ability to approve that, or does that have to go to yourself for?
That's like one day I'm going for something outside like during the Trappers Festival, I had to approve that before I allowed them to go. So anything outside is, because they have this schedule on our shared drive. Whatever they want to do on a monthly basis, they have to do, although the schedule changes with time, if there's any actuality, but if there's something outside, it has to come to me. But this one, I have to follow what it is.
Thank you.
You know what, I had one other thing that I had written down here. It was regarding the purchasing agent. It was saying that when the purchasing agent is away, that possibly there could be hiccups.
I would like to have that discussion in camera because there's some personal things that.
Okay. So then, any other questions? All right, we will move on to the 2025 complaints analysis. Is there anything in there, Gola, that you'd like to speak to?
Yes, I would like to actually continue this complaint analysis. If you look at it very well, we are able to know how many snow removal requests, how many sewer, how many water garbage, but we don't actually know how many of them were resolved.
Okay.
Like how many of them were resolved because we are having that limitation, and that's one of the reasons why we need a clerical officer and a branch. And this is one of the reasons why I said I'm putting that as one of my discussion, because I put something on the agenda stating garage barrier. So those are the things I would like to discuss. And because I would like us to know the complaint we are receiving, how many are we able to resolve? And why are we unable to resolve all those things? We are unable to try.
Great. Okay. Does anybody have any questions, Gola?
Well, just as a follow-up to that, I refresh my memory on this bullet as you probably a year ago now, but I think you did a presentation to us on that over a year ago about getting a call, where it goes, if it's been resolved, how long it took to resolve. And I haven't seen anything like that since. So is that still ongoing?
We do have an app that we use, and that app is not giving us what we wanted from that, because it doesn't really show when it is being resolved, and we're just coming back to the same problem. I do have my email as a backup email for complaint. If the complaint comes to town, I receive this as well. But when I see that, oh, I've already complained this first time, second time, when it's once you get to escalation stage, that is when I will have to do some complaint. But the process is coming to the front desk. Front desk assigning to the appropriate department to resolve, but they won't get feedback whether they were being resolved or not. So that is where the problem is. And that is why we receive a lot of complaints that, so I've sent emails several times. The people at the front desk will do their own due diligence. And the people over them are actually have done the work, but they don't know.
The people at the front desk are the ones who don't know.
No, they'll do their job. They'll send it to their appropriate department.
Right.
Not getting feedback.
They
Oh,
won't get
once it's
feedback.
completed, the front
So
desk
for
is
me
being
to be
told.
able to
Okay.
report this back to council, that this is what we have been able to achieve, is kind of difficult.
Okay.
And that was one of the reasons why we requested for that position last year. But due to, actually I was pushing my manager to make sure that we get our capital project to certain stage. That was one of the reasons we were able to do that. And we do have some job description duty for that position this year, if the council will give us a game.
I just wanted to suggest an easy way to do this. Like say the girls in the front, do a great job taking the calls and passing them on to those that need to address it. It would be very simple to set up a spreadsheet through a Google document or anything else that everybody has access to it. If, say, for example, a complaint is passed on to the superintendent to take care of a snow removal thing, he can simply open up that live document and say, it's been addressed. It would be at least a tracking, and then we can develop over time how it was done, how it was addressed, how was it, because everyone's gonna be addressed differently, right?
Yes.
But at least because analysis to me is comparing two things. We're not comparing anything other than February, January, right? We don't have a picture of, are we successful or are we failing somewhere?
Yeah.
So it would be nice to just create a simple Google document that is shared amongst all the staff in the front to say, Tanya took the call, she entered it. Doesn't have to be a lot of detail, just simply the same 6 points that you've identified here. One came in. Mr. Aga looked after it, he deletes it, it's taken care of. And if it's a big one, he could make a simple note for
They
a
don't,
question like
they
that.
don't get that back. Most of the people that does this job, they don't even have the computer. Most of the people that does the job, they don't even have the email.
But it could be a simple phone call, like I said, a parking, for example, or
I think.
a dog, the dog catcher could call time and said, it's handled. Right, we do have a mechanism, otherwise we shouldn't be taking complaints if we can't find a way to resolve them. So it'd be good for, like I say, if Brennan catches a dog, I caught that dog. Done, it's a 30-second interaction, it's just a matter of, again, a little bit of due diligence.
I think the nature of the complaint also plays a role in the reporting, so I think the example of the dog is a good one because, you know, if we're getting complaints, our animal control grabs it, yeah, I got it, we'll take it off Facebook or whatever.
Yep.
Or we can start the posting process. Certain complaints are a little more obtuse is the right word, like whether it's a judgment or it's a snowbank or it's sidewalks or whatever. When the foreman is assigning the work that day, they're doing their routes or whatever for store, let's say. If there was a mechanism where someone could like capture that information from all the operators, like what routes they did, or if we had more tracking on the equipment, and someone could say like, okay, they went by their aid, did they get this spot or not? It's a little bit tricky for the foreman to kind of keep track of all those kind of calls the office gets.
But if a complaint's received at the front, then it's simple, just they pass it off to somebody, email and say, need a response.
Yeah, just like a word with it.
And the email doesn't come back, you don't get a reply, then you send it again. What did you do?
And again, it's very easy as a Google document or something, as a living document. Everybody can open it on their phone, on their, whatever method they want, to say, yes, we received it and we're addressing it. We don't need to know all the details on how you're addressing it, but for statistical purposes, it'd be nice to know if we get 100 complaints, are we able to address 50 of them, or are we only able to address 20? If we're only addressing 20, how come? And then CAO has an argument to say, we're short of staff, we can't keep track of this. That's why we only have 20 addressed. But if it's 80, maybe it shows that it's just a matter of organizing a day. I'm sure every manager or every lead hand, everybody who's in any position of some type of authority has a diary at the end of the day of, this is what we do, this is what we did, this is what I need to address tomorrow, right? So it'd be just a matter of clicking a button, doesn't take a lot of time.
Okay, we'll leave that with you, Bula. And thank you for the suggestion. Unfinished business, outstanding issues. I think that's just here for information unless anybody is, has any questions surrounding it.
I would like to see re-added on here. I forget what it was called, but when we were discussing putting up those signs to recognize individuals in the community like Connor Dewar and whatnot. I don't remember what we called it on in the past, but it had been an unfinished business item, and I haven't heard anything on that in quite some time, so I'd like to see it re-added onto this list.
Local celebrities, signage or something. Yeah.
To recognize.
The recognition of local celebrities, so to speak, you know, whether it's sports or other achievements. What's something outside of town, billboard.
I was understanding that Jomar was setting up, like an application form, basically, to get people put on that list, and that they were going to be hung not on the outskirts, but in each like at the curling rink or in the 4-H. Was this a different sign that you're speaking to?
We're talking about something, if you come into town, you see a big sign, it might be somebody with.
Oh, with everyone's name on it?
Yeah.
Okay,
The big,
Okay.
yeah, just like home of Bobby Clark.
Yeah, and I think the last I heard with that one, the municipal superintendent might be able to enlighten me more, but I think that MMF was in discussions as well to do something like that, so. But I just haven't heard anything further, it'd be nice to know where that's
Yeah,
at.
and I think
I
we'll
think we have,
discussion with them.
yes, I've had a several discussion with everybody. I think the place, they are erecting that signage now, I think it's outside town. Right?
Yeah, they were looking outside of our jurisdiction.
Yes, they're looking at those same jurisdiction, so we don't really have control. So we forwarded them the contacts and then contact with the person to be able to erect the emblem.
Definitely. And yeah, like, aside from the sports stars, I know we had discussions as well about other well-known, or high achievement individuals in the community, but beyond athletics. It's pretty much all of everybody that's recognized right now, pretty much is sports stars, hockey players. We also recognize the ones that are doing something great beyond that.
I think that's solid off the budget. I think it's a lot.
I think we're super.
Senator.
General business. Okay, correspondence. We received a letter from VRM. Oh, it's just loading here. On ongoing homelessness issues in the PAW. And I'm not going to read the letter out, but VRM is concerned about the safety of some of their employees and that they need to sometimes lock their doors. My recommendation is for us to respond to the RMF Kelsey and let them know that they can reach out to James Quigley. And hopefully he can come up with something that can assist them as well.
We also, and hand in hand with it, we also spoke about, the issues at Oscar's Place. That was brought up at the public section of one of our meetings.
Yes.
And we had said, suggesting to have a manager from Oscar's Place to come over. We hear of the, OCN, the chief that was here, they're saying some of their that's why they wanted their homeless shelter here for 3 weeks. Some of their residents were actually afraid to go there because of the environment wasn't safe. So I think, that's something we should be addressing and also addressing that with the province. They have dropped the ball big time on that when they opened up Oscar's, but when they said they're gonna take it over mental health, and there's gonna be all kinds of resources put in there. They barely have enough money to keep it staffed. So I would encourage you to get him to come for the next council meeting, so we can have a good discussion on it and then a game plan on what we can do. It's, to me,
James, request for James to come
I think if he's the manager.
or to even dial it. No, James works out of CMHA in Swan River.
But they're tied in with Oscar's Place, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so whoever the manager is, James, whoever, the people that may be able to do something, or at least give us some insight of what they need, so that we can talk to the province. This time of year, when it warms up, if Oscar's Place was shut down in June for 3 months, what are the repercussions of that? I don't, like, no one's gonna freeze to death. So I mean, we have to look at some outside blocks here a little bit and say, okay, let's how can we do this? If it's funding issue, maybe they can't fund it 12 months there. Maybe they can fund it 8 months there. So we'll close it down for 4 months. Maybe they'll go, maybe things will get worse. I don't know, but we should at least have a discussion and look at some solutions.
We can also ask the RM if they're interested in attending that meeting as well. If it's not going to be a council night, we could try
I've
that.
got a council night, have them sit here and
I should ask Aaron to attend as well.
We could ask Jerry or Neil to come
To
in.
be honest, as
Yeah.
far as that goes, it's much of business owners on that street. They're all doing the same issues, every one of them. Right, that's supposed to so love them, what we're required,
Yeah, I
same thing.
everybody's aware of that, so I think
Yeah.
Oscar's Place is not the cause, but it's part of the problem. So I mean, it's something we have to look at.
Followed.
So
Okay, so we'll reach out to James and we'll also reach out to the RM as well to let them know that, what our plans are.
And whenever we do have that meeting, I would hope that the CSOs will be, or at least a representative of them will be, invited. That I agree with the Deputy Mayor Atkinson not reading the letter out, but, they were kind of called out in that letter. I don't think that's fair considering how short the program's been running and they're not even fully trained yet. So I think that, having them there to speak to some of the issues that, and I think unfairly being thrown their way would be nice as well.
We'll leave that to Bola. Thank you. Okay, citizens period. Oh, no. RCMP stats. Those are also there for information. And then,
Sorry, just one comment I have on that. It's nice to see the report that I'm assuming those are the zones there. M2 to M8. In the future, if they include those zones, could we also get a map to show exactly what those zones cover? I'd like to know exactly what's in M8 specifically. I'm assuming obviously that's the downtown, but zones on the graph.
I think they,
That was a template.
They
They
did
gave
one,
us
they did one
before.
time. It'd be nice to include it when it's. like,
oh,
the reports
so
here.
on every single report have that
They don't
attached?
have that on every single report.
No, that's what I'm wondering. Is that what your question is, to have the zone?
I would love to see the zones every single time. I mean, how are we supposed to advocate when we don't? I mean, we all know where the problem is, but we can't actually prove on paper where the problem is, right?
I'm also curious with the public disorder going down by 13%. Is that because they're just not getting calls anymore? Is that because the CSOs are getting the calls, so it shows a decrease? Because I definitely not seeing a decrease in downtown areas. I'm seeing more of those last couple of weeks.
Where are you seeing a decrease?
On the call descriptions, on public disorder, IPDA, cause of disturbance, mischief, obstruction, lawful.
they're getting less
There's
calls.
a decrease of
Oh,
one
there, okay.
point, 1.3%.
Okay, I thought you said
That's
the
too-
13.5, but I was gonna say it says
I'm
that.
looking
it's an
sideways, trying to get
increase.
my contacts to work.
Yeah, we can't speak to that, unfortunately.
The mental health one says 20%. That's
Yeah.
a big drop, but
We can, we'll also have some extra questions. Colin. Citizens period. Nobody's here. So we will move into committee of the whole.
Be resolved that we now move ourselves to the committee of the whole with like the Mayor Atkinson and the chair to discuss matters requiring urgent.
So 14.1.1, permission for the chief administrative officer to sign the Manitoba Growth.
So, yes.
Take it away.
All right, thank you. The GRO, we all received the news that we got approval for our GRO application. So there is need for CAO to sign the agreement between the town of Dupa and the government of Manitoba for that project. So I'm requesting council to approve and to sign this agreement. So I attached a copy of agreement.
Just some further background on here as well is that our municipality has been approved to receive a funding contribution of up to $4.2 million for Tonopah Waste Diversion and Facility Expansion Project under the Manitoba Grow, Renewal and Opportunities for Municipalities Program, administered by the Department of Municipal and Northern Relations. I don't see a problem with you signing that. Will
No.
anybody else have
Once
an
the check
issue?
got made out to you, we're good.
Yeah. So we'll bring that for resolution next meeting. Okay,
So,
That is,
please.
Yeah, so like, it has a date of March 28th. It can be signed and submitted before then, with no resolution, correct?
I think I have to, they will need to receive it before.
Before. Oh, we need to make a resolution tonight?
well, just as long as Bola has the blessing to move forward. I know previously when we discussed this, we were unsure if we were gonna receive the grant monies and make a commitment to funding the project to move forward, so accepting it is obviously like one step I think we have to at the moment. Our next step as a department is to reach out to get some support for some engineering support, to start putting out tenders. We're also working on applying for a federal grant as well, to see if we can get either some portion of the balance
Right.
covered as well. But I think council probably needs to start thinking if this is, but you know, if they take a debenture on the remaining amount. This is something we have to think about as a mayor and council.
And we have to 2028 to complete the project?
3 years, I believe, yes.
3 years.
Yeah.
Completion.
So
March 31.
we've already been in we've
Sorry.
already been in contact with the approvals branch in terms of letting them know that we'll be making application if we move forward. Because we have to get environmental permits. There's a lot of legwork for us to work on. I think the engineering design, because it takes a bit of time and in order to be shovel ready regardless, I feel confident that we should move ahead with that portion of it. I know we kind of sort of spoke about that part before, but I just wanted to make sure we were kind of all on the same page still on that.
Is there a resolution required?
No.
Like,
Just a resolution to give her, give Bola,
Just to have her sign, just have Bola sign.
because we gave a resolution on the front end of the application.
So we don't need a resolution to have Bola sign.
let's do one anyway.
I think
We'll go back
it's
to the
easiest to just do it. Okay. So would everybody be in favor of Bola signing the GRO? Yeah. Okay. There. Done. That easy. Are you writing up a resolution, Councillor Hopper?
No sheets, sorry.
Don't have sheet?
I'm typing as well.
She's doing.
Oh, you are? Okay, we'll come back to that then. Public hearing, Friendship Center variation. That issue sheet is here. The background council has shown interest in transferring the land title of the property housing the Friendship Center directly to the center itself. We have secured conditional approval as well as other conditions. However, one key requirement from the planning office is to obtain variation approval. This involves two specific conditions: a reduction in both the minimum site and width, and the details were given below. So that is the back part of this, and the public hearing is going to take place on,
April 8th.
Says April 8th, but it says Thursday as well, so we want to make a correction to Tuesday.
I'm thinking, so there is, I put it the same day with the budget meeting.
Yeah, so it'd be Tuesday the 8th, not Thursday the 8th.
Oh, that is.
Yeah, it's just a typing error probably of, it says Thursday.
Tuesday, April 8th at 6 p.m. and that will be here. Okay.
Another one, that too. I don't know whether I have the second one. I have the second one.
Is there any other questions? If not, 14.2.2, public hearing, the arena signage without digital variation. And this is another notice of a public hearing that will take place the same day. And it will take place, it says at 6:05 p.m., which is 5 minutes after the last.
Can I just ask why the reason for the separation? Why not do both signs to get the variations going at least? Because the sign currently doesn't follow any of the regulations, why not have the application as these come forward? And I know we're not prepared for the public hearing aspect, but at least have the applications both.
The zoning amendment for the bylaw, we feel will be sort of important to make sure we have nailed down because the current size of the animated sign is not the size we're using in the zoning bylaw amendments. Just to kind of keep it uniform with the other ones that we've seen, so it's a smaller size.
So are you kind of saying we're writing the bylaw to suit what's already there?
No, he's gonna have to vary the size of it, so there's still be an additional variation required
And
potentially.
that's what I'm saying. To me, make the application to say, hey, I realize I'm not currently compliant, therefore, here's my application. It seems that we're going over this sign for almost a year now.
Yeah.
Where it'd be nice to have it all come and dealt with.
I also I had a couple of questions in terms of procedure with the planning branch that I haven't heard back yet. So that was the other reason I just wanted to take a pause to get some feedback from Brett Mack before I kind of get ahead of myself. I'm a little bit still new at the process. I apologize. It must take forever, but sort of training wheels a little bit here.
Yeah, I guess all I'd like to see is an application to say, hey, I know the sign isn't currently compliant. And here's my application, just to show that we're making efforts to make the sign legal, however that turns to be. It's just right now, all it was a simple, go ahead. And it sends a bad message to the community, right? That's all. I'd like to see the application.
Councilor Manish, if I receive the application, I have to do the hearing within 30 days. And it told me that, and I have to work in it. So if everything is not set, I've told him I will not receive the application.
But right now, you have to look at what the bylaw currently states to what currently exists. And then we can deal with any variations or amendments that are required as they come. Yes, council was given direction to say, hey, let's amend the bylaw if it doesn't suit our needs. But currently, the sign doesn't fit any of the bylaw. Therefore, an application should at least come forward to say, I realize that it isn't compliant. I'm willing to wait, and we as a council can say, sure, let's try to put a timeline on it, so we're not dealing with it for another year, but at least have the legal part. So Mr. White has done his due diligence, and we have, and are working towards.
We've told Mr. White that he needs to be patient with us until we complete what we need to get done before he can do his application. He wanted to
Yes.
have it, yeah.
If you are going to amend the bylaw, I would recommend that we finish all the readings before I accept that, because I just want to follow the process and ensure that I do the necessary things within 30 days.
I think the way you're doing this fine, time's not an issue, really. Slow.
I'm just concerned with the message that we're sending. That's the biggest thing. Everyone else can go put up signs and say, well, I'll just wait until the bylaw is written to suit my needs. And that's not a good message. We have bylaws and regulations to ensure the people that are doing the right way or following it by the letter of the law are not the ones that are technically being picked on. Because again, being responsible for it years ago, it was tough to tell a property owner or a business owner, sorry, you gotta go through this process before they could put the sign up. In this case, we did the opposite. We said, go ahead, put up, and now we're gonna write a bylaw to be as best we can to suit what they're looking for. Again, it would just be nice to see the legal framework done to say, I realize it's not currently compliant. Here's my paperwork to make it compliant. Whatever time that takes, that's on us.
14.3, Finance and Administration. Change in date for the council meeting due to AMM. So we're looking to move the council meeting due to multiple people being missing. So we're trying to transfer over to Tuesday, April 22nd or April the 28th. Is there a day that somebody is?
I will be away on April 28th. I'll be in Europe.
Anybody else away on the 28th? 22nd? The 22nd is good?
The 22nd, I won't be able to.
No?
Both days were perfect.
There may be a chance for me, it all depends on the weather.
Okay.
I'll be leaving, flying out on the 24th, but we're leaving on the 23rd. But I've traveled at that time before from a snowstorm, so I may have to leave because of the 22nd, but then that's just up in the air.
Okay, so then, where's my book? I think the 28th. Keep it with the Monday. Yes. Everybody okay with the 28th then? All right, fine.
That's it.
Okay, AMM briefing notes. That, there's nothing in there for that. Purchasing policy, Canadian made issue sheet that is brought forth from the mayor. Is looking to pass a resolution to heighten awareness and reinforce municipalities' commitment to support the Canadian economy by strengthening our purchasing policy and direction by prioritizing Canadian-made products whenever possible. With the challenges with the free trade relations, tariffs, and supply chain issues, it is important for our community to prioritize the purchase Canada wherever possible. By doing this, we support strengthening our national industries and economy. So is there anything in there that anybody would not want to come forward?
By the flag.
Fly the flag, so we can bring forward that to the next council meeting.
Set it over for a moment. I just have a question about it. Again, our municipal superintendent, you keep calling me on me for this, but when we issue tenders, does anything ever get bid on that would involve this?
Some of the supplied product may come from like through a distributor from the US through one of our Canadian distributors. That's possible. I know some of our chemical, the water plant does that. I've read in the paper, or maybe it was on the news that other jurisdictions are doing this more aggressively in terms of like bigger contracts that are being bid on, you know, only for Canadian firms, engineering firms, things of that nature.
I think the resolution speaking to where possible.
Yeah, to prioritize,
just-
not to completely cut out.
If you can buy
No.
Canadian.
There is some like NAFTA purchasing agreements that we have to follow, but I'm not sure if one party breaks them, if they are still, you know what I mean, legally, the legal framework of it, I don't know the legal framework.
No, and that's fine. I'm just trying to see if there's any way that this is gonna in any way drive up our costs at all. At the end of the day, like I 100% agree, fly the flag, but you know, we still are responsible for the municipal purse, and I'm just kind of curious if this in any way, shape, or form is gonna drive our costs up.
I think what this is going to do is it's probably going to make purchasing have to work a little bit harder to see if there are alternatives that we can find that are Canadian made, right?
The one we talked about was a water treatment plant.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a tariff, 25% price is going up, so you can go around, you can get it in Canada, but there's only a certain place you can get it. That's what you have to do.
Yeah, we're actually working on, I don't know if that we are. We're working on some price savings, cost savings on some chemicals in the water plant. We're just working with the regulator to make sure we're following. But advise that book to making sure everything's done correctly. There's a lot of steps you have to take before you change a water treatment plant chemical, obviously. So we're working in the framework, hoping to see a significant savings on some of our chemical if it works out.
The fire department had also expressed that there are some things that they buy from south of the border as well.
Just to comment on that, they won't be buying directly from over the border. They'll be buying from their suppliers, which unfortunately a lot of their products do come out of the States. So it's a Canadian supplier from a American manufacturer. As best we can.
Yeah, no, I think
Okay.
that, I think it's a good sentiment for sure.
So the issue sheet will be brought forward. And that's it.
Yeah, the addition.
Oh, you have that resolution ready?
Just type it up.
Roll.
Move by myself, second by Councilor Allen, be resolved that council approves the CA one sign
Sorry,
Manitoba.
you want to come back into council first?
We never left.
We're in the whole way, all right.
Oh, you're right.
Before we do that, then,
Yeah. Like, we didn't go into camera.
before we do that, then we have the addition as well for the cameras that you want.
Yes.
That should be on the committee of the whole.
Okay, let's do the
Do the
cameras first
That
then.
was
Yes.
just to put it on the agenda, the discussion on, we talked about, with recent, activity downtown. Vandalism, it's been talked about in the past about having, downtown cameras, installed at various locations. There's, some legalities that have to be followed for that. And basically, we've asked the superintendent, to explore the options, costs, and, what regulations have to be followed, and then bring it back to council. And whether we do it this year or not depends on the cost. Apparently, there is some money left from the other camera systems that we've used, but just to get it on the agenda and on the radar, so to speak, so we can see what it's going to look like.
In addition to that, can we also look into what it would take to make citizens on patrol come back? What do we need to do to make that come back?
Find the volunteers.
Yeah. But maybe we could kickstart that again,
That's
possibly.
Kind of the CSOs have kind of taken over that.
What I'll do under advisement is I'll take it to the Chamber of Commerce. Years ago, when I was public safety officer, I had gone to the Chamber of Commerce saying it's kind of protecting the business sector. Maybe that's something the Chamber of Commerce could help head up.
Good. That's a good idea. Okay.
She was part of the.
I was on the Citizens on Patrol, and, yeah, you're gonna have we might have a very hard time getting people to, join that, and, not saying anything against the elderly people, but it was mainly retired people that did that, and I don't think that's a safe position for them to be on the streets, and what their purpose was to report to report to the RCMP.
Is there an age requirement?
An age requirement?
Like minimum
Adult. You're gonna look at,
It's something I think the chambers today.
Yeah.
Place to start.
Okay. So then let's move us back into the regular meeting.
Be resolved, we now move ourselves back into the regular council meeting with Deputy Mayor Atkinson and the chair to discuss matters requiring attention.
Councilor Hopper.
Move by myself, second by Councilor Allen. You trying to get your pen to break or what? Yeah. Be resolved that council approves CAO to sign the Manitoba Growth Renewal and Opportunity Agreement with the government of Manitoba.
Oh, question? Hearing none, in favor? Carried. Okay. There. And that concludes our regular meeting. There will be no business coming out of the in-camera session for today. Thanks for tuning in, and Councilor Allen, will you move us into in-camera?
Be resolved, we now move ourselves to the camera portion of the committee of the whole with Deputy Mayor Atkinson and the chair to discuss matters requiring our attention.
Thank you. That was really long, what you see. Thanks for reading that. Figuring you're reminded.